Testing. What's always important in the military that is instilled is that you have a mission and a purpose. I think the same thing is here at Walmart. We help people safely so that they can live better. People think it's just about retail and just about selling things. There's so many more opportunities available at the company that I can. The position is there. We taught them the way, taught them the skills. We just need to go learn things. That's hard, but I taught them how to do that.
Hello.
Good evening, everyone. This is Mayor Williams. We're going to start momentarily.
Okay. Wilma.
I call to order the Tuesday, August 4th, 2020 meeting of the Danville City Council. Madam Clerk, roll call, please, to establish a quorum.
Mayor Ricky Williams Sr.
Present.
Alderman Robert Williams.
Present.
Aaron Trolia.
Present.
Terry Pickering.
Here.
Michael Kane.
Here.
Bob Iverson.
Present.
Rick Streeting.
Here.
Mike Poor.
Present.
Steve Foster.
Present.
Sharon McMahon.
Present.
Brenda Brown.
Present.
RJ Davis. Dan Duncan.
Here.
James Bouchard.
Present.
Tom Stone.
Here.
13 present.
13 present, and we do have a quorum. At this time, we will have the invocation led by Alderman Brown.
Our Father who art in heaven, we thank you for this wonderful day. As we go into this meeting for the City of Danville Council, we ask your blessings upon each one under the sound of my voice. We ask your blessings upon the City of Danville. Father, we pray and ask that peace abide throughout this city of Danville and all cities throughout this nation as we are living in some perilous times. But we know that you are the creator and author of our faith. So we come to you and ask, Father God, in the name of Jesus, that your peace abide in us and with us through this city of Danville. And as we conduct the business of the Danville City Council, grant us peace. We ask that each one be given wisdom and discernment as we make our decisions. And at the end, we all agree to disagree. And let your love abide with us, not only this day, but always. We pray this in the precious name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
At this time, I will lead us in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag
To the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. At this time, you have before you the minutes. At this time, you don't have before you the minutes. They will be ready for next meeting. However, we do have the agenda for this evening. Is there a motion to approve it as presented?
So moved, Duncan.
Pickering, second.
I apologize. We do need to remove the city clerk's report. Do you entertain a friendly motion to amend those who made the motion?
Duncan says yes.
Pickering
All
says
right.
yes.
Thank you very much. You have now before you a motion amended to remove item 12A, the city clerk's report. It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Same sign. Now, for my report, I do not have any proclamations, board, committee, or personnel appointments. Are there any reports of boards, agencies, or commissions? Any reports of boards, agencies, or commissions? Seeing none, I do have a couple of items of information for you. I am going to go to the item that you have listed here second. The first thing that I want to say to you all is that you had asked that we follow up regarding medical marijuana sales in the city of Danville. Logan Cronk and Chuck Mockbee, our grants and planning manager and our corporation counsel, did have a phone call with representatives from Sunnyside Dispensary. Essentially, they are selling medical marijuana. However, because they are not designated as a medical marijuana dispensary by the state of Illinois, they are not able to forgive the taxes that are being paid on the medical marijuana. So if someone else would go to Champaign to buy medical marijuana, they would not have to pay a tax, whereas currently they are. That is a state issue. It is not due to anything that Sunnyside has done. It is their desire that they be able to sell medical marijuana without the tax involved. But it would take an action from the state of Illinois in order to make that happen. In the meantime, they have looked at the option of possibly providing a discount to those with a medical card in order to help offset some of that tax expense. And we are looking forward to hearing back from them as to whether or not that's something that's going to be possible. Does anyone
Mayor
have?
Williams?
Yes.
Alderman Duncan?
Yes, sir.
Just as a point of information, that is not a 9.25% tax. It's a 20 to 30% tax.
Oh.
Any of the people who are in Danville who have a medical card and are looking to purchase medical marijuana have to go to Champaign. It's a 20 to 30% discount not paying that tax. It would be very important to anybody in Danville and Vermilion County to be able to purchase it here locally. And I know it's not an income for the city, but it is a service to our constituents. If you can expedite that or encourage that to happen, that's a real thing. It's go to Champaign and save 30%. It's not just a money thing, but it's a go to Champaign. And people who need medical marijuana, it's no big deal for me to drive down the interstate, but for a lot of people, that's a major trip because they don't have adequate transportation. Please encourage Sunnyside to be able to sell medical marijuana without the taxes. That would be a great thing for the people here at Danville.
I absolutely agree, but again, it's not Sunnyside; it's the state of Illinois.
Oh, I understand. I understand. Yeah, I'm not berating Sunnyside nor the city, but if we can help or expedite or encourage in any way, I strongly encourage that.
Absolutely agreed. Thank you, Alderman Duncan. Any other comments or questions on that matter? All right. The next item of information for you I have is the August 18, 2020 City Council meeting. Hopefully tonight, with your approval, we will have approval to purchase technology for future meetings so that we can have them off-site and see one another and have presentations and such through Zoom. Unfortunately, even if we purchase them tomorrow, the turnaround time with shipping alone is several weeks, which means that it may take a month or more before we would be able to have everything set up and usable. It could be quicker than that, but we could easily also be looking at a month. As you all know, we will have the folks from Haven Gaming here to make a presentation about updates in their application on the 18th. So it would be my strong request to you that we host an in-council meeting, in-chambers meeting that night for City Council on the 18th. We can social distance as we did during our last meeting. We'll make sure doors are open so people don't have to touch them. We will require that people wear masks until they are seated at their seat, and then they can remove those masks. And we also would limit capacity in the room to either 50 people or half of the capacity of the room. So, which I believe would be about 50 people. I have Mr. Lane, our building and ground superintendent, checking into that for us. So I think it's just important that we all be here together and that we be able to see everything at the same time. I would open it up to thoughts on meeting in person for just this next meeting, given the importance of a decision that we make.
Mayor Alderman Four.
Yes, sir. Yes, Chairman.
I do think it would be very important to see the presentation, especially the aldermen that have not seen it, because we have to vote on this again. That's part of the steps in sending the new application in. So we voted twice already to move it forward, and I think with the new application things, it's very important to meet in person and where people can actually see the presentation.
Other thoughts on this?
Alderman Duncan. No. Go ahead, Rick.
Yes, Alderman Streaming, and then Alderman Duncan.
Okay, I'm all for August 18th meeting at City Hall, so it sounds good to me.
Thank you, sir. Alderman Duncan.
What are the restrictions or guidelines as far as Open Meetings Act of telling the public stay away? We're worried about them. I mean, how can we restrict meeting size? Can we tell the public not to come? I mean, I'm okay meeting with 12 or 14 people and 6 people from Haven, but I've seen 150 people in that room, and that's sure not social distancing.
No, we would not be telling people that they couldn't come, but we would refer to the Illinois Department of Public Health requirement that you have a limit of 50 people or half the capacity of the room. So what we would do is we would allot room for the aldermen, for the staff people who must be present for the evening, for the representatives from Haven, and then we would allow the remainder of the seats to be filled by the public and or the media.
So there
we would not be allowing 150 people into the space. There's no possible way that would be half of capacity.
So conceivably, there would have to be security or someone head counting or someone turning people away, which is logistically a problem.
What problem do you see in someone assessing how many people we have present?
Well, I mean, if there's 40 people on the stairwell and we're gonna let 5 of them in, I don't want to be the guy at the stairwell telling those 35 people to go away. But I think they should be told that.
Well,
I'm wondering, does that violate the Open Meetings Act?
No, it doesn't, because we are because of the emergency decree. Can be limited to the IDPH recommendation and not be in violation. What we do plan to do, though, we do plan to also, if possible, stream the meeting on YouTube so that people can also hear it, and also they will have the opportunity to submit audience comments beforehand too if they're unable to be present and physically present inside of the building.
Mayor, Chairman Four again.
Yes, sir.
We just checked in with the health department and things. We're getting ready for reunion or fall reunion. Even though we can hold over 500 people in our preceptory, they told us no more than 50. It will not be based on half the capacity. It's a limit of 50.
Right. I think our capacity, Chairman, is probably only around 100 or so in that room anyway. So even if it were a little bit more, it wouldn't be much more than that. But I think probably what we'll do is go as 50, let people know well ahead of time what the requirements and expectations are, and then proceed accordingly.
And like you say, if you can Zoom or have it, on Facebook Live or whatever, so people can at least listen, I think that would be good.
Thanks, Chairman.
And Alderman Duncan again.
Alderman Duncan, Alderman Trolia, please, and then Alderman Duncan.
I swear I do agree with Mike Poor about this. I think it's going to be very important to do this, and I could see a lot of people showing up if it's over the casino too. So I do agree with Alderman Duncan that we probably need to figure out some way of turning them away, or whatever we have to do, because I could see a lot of people showing up for it.
Likely what I'll do, thank you, Alderman. Likely what I'll do is I'll have Chief Yates or someone at the door, doing kind of a count, and we'll move forward from there.
And that's what I wanted to, that's why I wanted to pair it, that yes, I would love to hear from Haven. I think it's something we need to follow through on. A face-to-face meeting will be so much better than on the phone. I'm just concerned about both COVID requirements and about Open Meeting Act requirements. So if we can in any way make it possible to meet with Haven, I think we should.
Chairman Foster.
Yes, Chairman Foster.
Yeah, on this issue, I don't think it would be too much of a difficulty if the people know in advance, and if we assure them that they can go to the website. If they're going to make a PowerPoint, we could have that available for the people to look at. We could even have it in real time. You know what I mean? Posted that night. Which they could open the PowerPoint, which undoubtedly they're going to make, and listen to the meeting. It's already on audio, and they could even have some video in front of them if they wanted to go online to the website. So what I'm trying to say is we can get a lot of data about the casino up on the website before the meeting that night that they can go to. And the IT's good at this. They just make a one-nighter pager or leave it up for maybe a week in case people want to see their proposals, because it'll probably be something different from the photographs we saw before. I did want to make a comment, however, and I inadvertently forgot to unmute myself. I just wanted to go back onto the marijuana comment, if I could. There's something possibly we could do. Can you hear me okay, Mayor?
Yes, sir.
Okay. On that, what I wanted to say, and we had a discussion, but we should all maybe consider this. We learned that the way that you got the marijuana license was that anyone who had the medical license could automatically apply first and get it. But as soon as they all did, more allowable licenses for medical alone. So I suggested, or I will suggest at this time, that we could even have our own, we could pass a resolution to send to the state. I would suggest that anybody who has does not have the medical license, but still has the marijuana distribution, there may be not more than 3 or 4 cities, that they be allowed on the same rule, that if they have the regular distribution to the public, they can also have medical marijuana to theirs. I think if we were to support that, or you suggested then that the appeal to the state, because that law, I doubt if there's more than 2 or 3 people, probably cities, that everybody that had a medical marijuana, in other words, I'm sure it took the public one too. So that number may not be that big. They had the option of adding the medical on, because Johnson's right. 30%, yeah, I wouldn't go for 10%, but I might go for 30. You know what I mean? Thank God I don't need it anyway, but I'm just saying that there is a difference. So maybe we could pass a resolution suggesting the state revisit that, so that we'd like to have medical marijuana in our community without the burden of the travel and the 30% tax. And I wouldn't be surprised if they don't even need to legislate that. They may put that in one of the oversight commissions, as one of their commission's rules of some time. Anyway, that's all I want to say. There are things we could do to maybe support or instill the idea is if you got the public, then you ought to be granted the medical for the sake of the seniors. That's it on both.
Thank you, Chairman Foster. That's a good point. Other Alderman thoughts on meeting in person on the 18th?
Mayor, Alderman okay?
Yes, sir.
I plan on being there, and also with our rule standing, I think as long as we have 8 people there, and so one of the aldermen is worried about the medical problem, I think this would qualify them to stay home legally and attend the meeting electronically.
Oh, good point, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
That,
Good point.
I will have to have corporation counsel check on that, and I will have him get you an answer. But I think that may be possible, but I'm not 1,000 times sure. I will need to verify that.
As long as we have 8.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
As long as I have 8, yes, because, there's going to be a slideshow and some people might want to see that.
Right. Well, that would encourage people, but if they're afraid and they want to stay home, I understand.
Thank you, Alderman O'Kane. That was a good suggestion. Other comments on that? On meeting in person on the 18th?
Alderman Pickering,
Yeah, yes, ma'am.
I believe it's a good idea to meet in person. And my question was, if there is an overflow, can we use the other room?
No.
Mm-mm.
Nope, just in the building.
I don't believe so, Alderman Pickering, but I will check into that, but I don't believe so. I just received information earlier from Dr. Geddes that they're having to rethink how they're going to do 2 of their schools because they're only going to allow 50 in the entire building in Mead Park and
Liberty.
That's right, because of the partition issues. So I'm not sure, but I will ask that question as well.
Okay.
Alderman Iverson,
Yes, sir.
I agree that we really do need to be there in person and see it. I think it's really important because of some of the concerns we have. But I also wanted to mention that I'm on the arena board, and even the arena, we couldn't have you guys over there in a big room and have a lot of people. Because even in the arena, we can only have 50 people in the entire building.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
It's
Okay.
Which is why we're not doing too much there right now.
an interesting predicament that we're all in, but I do think that this is important. Does anyone else have any other comments before we move on? I just so you'll know, I am going to have the clerk conduct a straw poll just to see who would be willing to be present for a meeting with the parameters of a limit of 50 people in the room.
Mayor, Alderman Stone, Mayor.
Yes, Alderman Stone, please proceed.
Do you need a motion since we're changing our protocol here on this, or are we just okay to just move forward?
No, because it's not on it's technically not an item that's considered for vote at the meeting. This will be an unofficial straw poll, just to determine the wishes of the council. Any further comments on meeting in person on the 18th?
Alderman Pichard.
Yes, Alderman Pichard.
Yes, because of the importance of the issue, I definitely believe we should all meet in person and just do our social distancing like we did before and just try to maintain with our issues. Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Any other comments before I have the clerk poll us? Okay, thank you. Madam Clerk, would you conduct a straw poll to affirm the wish of the council? If you are willing to meet in person on the 18th, please say yes or yay. If not, please say no or nay.
Alderman Williams?
No.
Kroll, yes?
Yes.
Pickering?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Iverson?
I didn't hear you. Yes.
Thank you. Streebing?
Yes.
Moore?
Yes.
Foster?
Yes.
Mann?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Davis? Duncan?
Abstain.
Pichard?
Yes.
Stone?
Yes.
11 yes.
11 yes. We will be meeting in person on the 18th. We will put together a release shortly of all the requirements for that meeting so that the public will clearly understand what would be expected. Thank you very much for that. Just want to say, send a special shout out to our folks at the Garfield Pool. Thank you for continuing to do everything that you can to keep people safe. We appreciate the hourly protocols and just having something open that's safe and fun for people to do. So thank you very much for that. Also would like to congratulate and thank Logan Cronk, our grants and planning manager, and Natasha Elliott, our city planner, and Christina Thompson, our CDBG manager, for all the great work that they've done in helping people. We have awarded nearly all of our individual grants that we've received through the coronavirus fund, and we have also extended most of our grants for the businesses as well. So I just want to thank them for all the help that they provided to our citizens and our businesses. That means a lot to folks, and we really appreciate it.
Mayor Williams.
Yes, ma'am.
This is Alderman Brown. On behalf of the Laurel Fellowship House Board, we did meet with Mr. Cronk and Ms. Natasha Elliott, and we thank both of them and you for the information that was given and taking the time to help us out, as we are a community that's working together for the betterment of this city, and we say thank you.
Well, thank you, Alderman Brown. I'm excited. It will be great. The fellowship has been a great resource to our community for decades, and actually it's been more than a century at this point, and we just want to make sure that it continues to be a great light and a great place for people to meet and exercise their civic capacity. So thank you as well for taking the time to meet and talk with us. As a reminder, and I'll put this in the email too, when we come to the city council meeting on the 18th, please enter only through the front door. Please enter only through the front door. That way, again, we don't have folks touching things. We will spray down the outside of handles after we close and before we open for city council again. So please just come through the front door on that evening. All right, at this time,
Mayor Williams,
we do have...
Mayor Williams.
Yes, ma'am.
Alderman Pickering. We should shout out to Brock Burton for the golf tournament that he held this weekend for the American Legion.
Thank you very much for the reminder. Absolutely. I was going to say that under the Public Works Committee report, but you're absolutely right. It was a fantastic tournament, and we had 50 teams, 54-person teams that were here in the city of Danville for that tournament. So just really proud of the work that Brock and all the folks that did down at the golf course, as well as Turtle Run for being a good partner in that event. We thank them as well.
Mayor Williams, this is Alderman Williams.
Yes, sir.
Yes, the meeting on the 18th of August, is it any way possible that we could have some sort of medical check at the door, such as temperature check or something similar to that, so we could be more sure?
Yes, sir, Alderman Williams. We have purchased the touchless thermometers. Sorry, it took me a minute to find that word for some reason. We do have touchless thermometers, and one thing that we could do is check everyone's temperature as they're entering the building to make sure that they don't have that symptom. Yes, sir, that's a great recommendation.
I think it would be great if we did that.
Very good. Thank you, Alderman Williams, for that suggestion.
Mm-hmm.
All right. At this time, we do have, Madam Clerk, I do believe we have some petitions and communications.
Yes, we do. First, I have Pastor D. Moore of Danville regarding food truck license fee.
City Council members, I will keep this short. The proposed food truck license fee is too high. This would cripple us, especially those of us who are trying to get our small business off the ground. We will have to pass this off to customers on top of other fees, elevated food and beverage costs, which would not fare well for us in the grand scheme of what we do. And where can I see the actual proposed ordinance? Why are you doing this? Please reply so I can be informed. I urge the council not to do this, please. Thank you for your time. I also would like to read to you the correspondence that our city clerk gave him. Pastor Moore, food trucks currently pay $100 per month under the transient merchant license. There is a need to add a food truck definition that as to the ordinance along with other language pertaining to food trucks. And I have copied Mayor Williams on this email if you would like to contact him with any additional questions or concerns. The link to the city council agenda packet is below. The proposed food truck ordinance is agenda item 12F, and she gives the link to the packet. I will send your email to the city council members and have it read during the audience comment period of the city council meeting.
The second one is from Bud Gerard, Bud's Barbecue, regarding the food truck license.
For Mr. Gerard, could you ask when the fee would begin, and what if you already paid this year? Some of us use only go 5 months out of the year, can't work in winter months. It's cheaper to pay by the month. Thanks, hope to hear from you soon. Mrs. Monson responded to Mr. Gerard by telling him that the ordinance would be effective immediately, and whatever fee he has paid so far this fiscal year will be dedicated from the will be deducted from the $600 annual fee if that is what is approved this evening. He has paid for May through August, which totals $400, so he would owe $200, which would make the license effective through April 30th of 2021.
Aaron Golden of Danville, regarding liability, property, and workers' compensation insurance.
City Council representatives of Danville, Illinois. My name is Aaron Golden. I am a Danville resident. I am a representative of the Illinois Municipal League Risk Management Association, IML-RMA, and an employee of Cannon Cochran Management Services Incorporated, CCMSI, located in Town Center and downtown Danville. A number of you know me and the organizations I represent, so I wanted to take a few minutes to provide some background in the hope that you will consider IML-RMA as your insurer of choice for liability, property, and workers' compensation at your upcoming renewal. The City of Danville was a member of the IMLRA for 30 years prior to changing representation effective January of 2017. It's my belief that now would be a great time to analyze that situation again. Since Danville left the IMLRA, our program has undergone a number of philosophical and financial changes. Most notably, our pricing model has significantly changed, and we are able to provide higher deductible levels to help with the bottom line price should that be of interest. Over the last 3 years, we have not given a single price increase. We have provided decreases to 37% of our membership, while most of the competition market has been providing yearly increases. We have brought back several former members that have allowed us to reanalyze their insurance situation over that same time. The IML-RMA is a nonprofit organization with 643 members across the state of Illinois, approximately 50% of Illinois municipalities. The program is stronger now than we have ever been in our 40 years in service. We have been using that financial strength to the benefit of our members, as well as prospective clients, to provide considerable monetary and budget-related aid. We are being especially prudent this year with municipal income tax revenue being down due to the COVID pandemic, and we are confident that we can do the same for the City of Danville. We believe that we will be able to save the City of Danville significantly on your insurance costs if given the opportunity. Danville's current insurance expires on December 1st of this year. I am requesting the opportunity to provide a competitive bid to consider, as well as coverage comparison and claims analysis. We can have a comprehensive bid ready to review prior to your current expiration date. I look forward to the opportunity to see what the IML-RMA can do to benefit the City of Danville. Thank you for your time and consideration. Aaron Goldman.
Next, I have Charles Robinson, 830 Johnson Street, regarding personal encounters with Danville Police Department.
Good evening, Council, Board, Alderman, Mayor Williams. Let me begin by stating pride in our City of Danville that I have seen some improvements in areas of great blight with promise of new business and opportunity on the horizons as a result of those grand efforts. Tonight, I address the issues in personal encounters with our Danville Police Department and failures to protect and properly serve with threats of death and great bodily harm at my residence of 830 Johnson Street, Danville, Illinois. I am unfortunately embroiled in a battle of family grief with the passing of my father, John Cagg Robinson, and his wishes with matters of estate being spoken for by others as his dying wishes to own my property. My wife and I have spent the past 3 years working to restore and pay off. We have reached that goal in regard, and the contract is now being terminated, and attempts to reclaim have been denied the deed holders Caroline and Lamont Brown by my wife and myself, as we have abided by all stipulations and addendums to said contract to purchase. This has been met by multiple attempts to aggravate the matter on behalf of Daryl Compton, firstly, an employee of Comcast Xfinity, who has come to our house while on duty in his company vehicle and threatened to bust my school open and watch my brains leak out in front of my wife and no less than 2 Danville police officers with no rest. I might note that Mr. Compton was showing me a photo album containing photos of his gruesome act of busting schools while he and Lamont Brown were stationed in Saudi Arabia by use of military tanks and mutilation of humans and remains, making such a threat very valid. I have received no less than 5 occasions where such threats are made, including trespass to property at Daryl Compton, and no reports were made until yesterday's lengthy conversation with Commander Webb of the Danville Police Department, who I also give credit to, as we're able to establish common ground and extend forbearance to one another in the cause. That said, we were able to accomplish the very necessary task in police form and function of physical reports and documentation of this incident. Along with this incident comes an encounter with yet another brother-in-law, who is a Jefferson City, Missouri Sheriff's Reserve Deputy with Cole County, who arrived on the 20th of June to elicit the same cause and his desire to take our home and property. Only Lamont Brown had come to my residence with intent to take things to the next level, as he was armed with weapon, badge, and handcuffs, all of which were brandished and exposed to me, accompanying warnings and repeated threats. Again, no arrests were made, with reports to Police Chief Yates as well as Sergeant Kaiser. Recommended calling 911 after Lamont Brown's departure, with the address of Daryl Compton being given, where Lamont Brown was visiting for an entire week. Calling 911 in the past, in my experience, has only led to even more threats of violence while Danville police officers were present, again leading to no arrest, with the witness of threats of gun violence, that being my wife, who suffers from a terminal neurological disorder, who is now at a point of sheer hysteria. The remainder of his comments are 3 times longer than this, but they were sent to you this afternoon. And just know that a number of things, including which he only notified us of this event yesterday. So.
All I have, Mayor.
All right, thank you, Madam Clerk. Zoning petitions, we do not have any this evening. However, we do have the payrolls of July 24th and 31st. Is there a motion to approve those?
So moved.
Moved by Alderman Brown and seconded by
Trolia.
Alderman Trolia. Okay, thank you. Any discussion or debate?
Alderman Duncan.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Mayor Williams, just, I suppose this is the right time to ask this question. Overtime pay for the firemen and police, is this about what we expected, year to date? Or is it, higher than what we expected, lower? Or is it within the parameters that we had expected in our budget discussion last year?
I will be honest, I will have to check with the comptroller on that. I am not entirely certain.
If you could, and again, I mean, no pressure, but if by the meeting on the 18th, when we hopefully will meet together, if you could give us, what the projections were, and I do understand there have been a lot of contributing factors, but if you could give us an overview on the year-to-date overtime pay at the next meeting, I would sure appreciate it.
Absolutely, no problem.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Mayor Williams, this is Alderman Williams.
Yes, sir.
I had a question concerning the food truck license vendors. I have one of my constituents to
Alderman Williams. That is, we aren't at that item yet. That item is actually item 12F. If you could reserve your comments until that time, that would be appreciated.
Okay. Sure. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any other comments on the payroll? Roll call vote, please.
Alderman Pashard?
Yes.
Stone?
Yes.
Williams?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Pickering,
Yes.
Kane,
Yes.
Iverson,
Yes.
Treaty,
Yes.
Ford,
Yes.
Foster,
Yes, and whoever's got a lawnmower running, mute yourself, please.
McMahon,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Davis, Duncan,
Yes.
13 yes.
13 yes, the motion carries. At this time, you have before you the vouchers payable for July 28th, as well as a special run on July 28th and August 4th. Is there a motion to approve those?
So moved.
It's been moved and seconded. Thank you very much. Any discussion or debate on the vouchers payable?
Mayor, on the, I do, just Chairman Four.
Yes, Chairman, go ahead, please.
And this may be a misprint. On page 4 of 6 of the payables for the July 28th toward, that's right before the CDBG community project, there's a charge for fuel, Illinois FS, for $4.39 for the Public Works facility. Is that a mistype, or is that really only $4.39?
Director Carpenter, do you happen to know, or Comptroller, are you, either of you? I'm.
This is Director Carpenter. Yes, we do a monthly readout of how much fuel was used by everybody here at CVM, and that's all the fuel they used in their vehicle for that month. That's
wow.
Therefore they have to pay for.
So that's one benefit of the pandemic. Okay, and then on that same,
that's approximately 2 gallons of gas.
Yeah. And then under the CDBG, there's to South Street Saloon, an urgent need, under the urgent need program, giving them $10,000, whereas most of the other people in that category received $1,200 to $2,000. Is there something special? Is there a big project that happened or something?
Well, I'll
yes,
also let
Chairman.
Respond to that
Go ahead.
as well. That is partially due to them being a business. They applied for a different type of loan. And Logan could actually break that down for you.
Oh, okay.
Logan, are you, I think we're having some technical difficulties. I can answer that question. Chairman Moore, the difference is for the South Street Saloon, that was a business grant. Empower Counseling, that's an independent contractor grant. And the others are individual family grants for those who have needed support with either rent, mortgage payments, or car payments. So the difference is categorical. The $1,200, the $1,250 to the individuals, the $2,000 to the independent contractors, because under the grant, that's the most they're eligible to receive, and then the $10,000 for an actual business.
So any business could have applied under this?
Pardon?
No.
I say,
Chairman, can you please repeat that?
Was there restrictions on the businesses that could apply, or could any business have applied for that type of grant?
Any business that's located in the city of Danville proper can still apply for that grant. We still have funds available there, as well as independent contractors. Businesses, Chairman, are eligible for up to $10,000. Independent contractors, or folks who work for themselves or have their own businesses, are eligible for up to $2,000, and then the last is for the families, and those we are at a point where I think we have used all of them or nearly all of them.
Okay, because I'm not sure how many businesses knew they could apply for that amount. And that's just a grant. It's not anything that has to be paid back.
That is correct, Chairman. Those are this is through the CARES Act money that we received for CPG, the $590-some thousand with the 370-some thousand going to businesses and the 200,000 going to individuals. This is from those funds. That's why over the next month or two, Chairman, you're going to see a whole bunch of those.
Okay.
I saw probably 70 or 80 documents in the last 2 weeks to authorize those. So.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, thank you very much.
This is Director Carpenter. I would like to add in that on the August 4th payments, you will also see one for $10,000 under an individual's name of Shakoya Moore, but that is also a business. It is not an individual.
Okay.
That's the one.
Any other questions on the payables this evening? Roll call vote, please.
Alderman Stone,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
oh yes,
Yes.
Pickering,
Yes.
O'Kane,
Yes.
Iverson,
Yes.
Creevy,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Foster,
Yes.
Mann,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Davis, Duncan,
Yes.
Shard,
Yes.
13 yes.
13 yes, the motion carries. At this time, we will receive the Public Works Committee report. Does anyone have any questions for Director Carpenter or anyone that any of the entities that fall under Public Works? All right, seeing none, I just received a note from our comptroller. Police overtime is right on track at 25%. Fire overtime is a little heavier than anticipated at 49%. Again, a lot of that is due to unanticipated retirements and the callbacks that we had to have for a couple of major events.
Alderman Duncan, thank you, Mayor Williams.
You're welcome, sir. No problem. Before we move on to the Public Services Committee, actually, as we move on to the Public Services Committee report, I just want to give you all some very great news. I want to thank God right now. For those of you who may not have known, Chief Yates' son underwent open heart surgery today, his oldest son.
Oh my God.
Have a valve replaced, and thanks be to God, everything went well, and they are blessed and doing good. So just continue to keep Brandon Yates in your prayers, and we thank God for that.
Who was that, Mayor? Excuse me.
Brandon Yates, Alderman Williams, Chief Yates' son, his eldest son.
Oh.
Yes, sir.
Man.
Thank God. Sorry. At this time, you have before you item 12B. I would entertain a motion to accept and place on file the Treasurer's Report for May 2020.
Duncan, so moved.
It's been moved by Alderman Duncan and seconded by Alderman Brown. Any discussion or debate? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Same sign. All right, you have before you 12C, a resolution approving an intergovernmental agreement with the Township of Kaplan. I would ask for the dispensation of the reading and a motion to approve.
Alderman Strabing, I'll make the motion. We accept this.
Thank you.
Alderman Pickering, second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion or debate? Roll call vote, please.
Alderman Williams,
Yes.
oh yes,
Yes.
Pickering,
Yes.
O'Kane,
Yes.
Iverson,
Yes.
Creevy,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Foster,
Yes.
McMahon,
Yes.
Brown, yes, Davis, Duncan,
Yes.
Shard,
Yes.
Stone,
Yes.
13 yes.
13 yes, the motion carries. Item 12D is a resolution authorizing the purchase of technology equipment. I would ask for a motion to dispense with the reading and for its approval.
Stone, so moved.
Second, Brown.
Pickering.
Been moved by Alderman Stone and seconded by Alderman Brown. Any discussion or debate?
Alderman Williams,
Yes, Alderman Williams.
who will these technical items be issued to, and what type of training will be provided to them?
Yes, sir. I'll have our IT administrator, Agnell, answer that question for you.
Yes, Alderman Williams. We will be providing a tutorial on how to use this equipment, as well as provide a cheat sheet as to, how to get to email and whatnot. So we're going to make it more user-friendly for everybody.
And Alderman, the laptops will be going to myself and to each of you as aldermen, and the iPads will be going to the same folks as well as the department and division heads as well.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Mayor, Chairman Poor.
Yes, Chairman.
So the laptops, they will also have, in addition to their normal screen, they'll also have a 24-inch external monitor, a keyboard, and a mouse.
That is correct, Chairman.
Wow. Okay.
That way, I don't know about you guys, but my aged eyes have trouble sometimes. So I told Agnell that we would need to make sure that everyone could see well.
How old
So
are
that'll
you,
be-
Evan O'Kane?
So that'll have to be, so that'll be some additional pieces that we'll have to set up in our homes.
Yes,
rather
and
than just having
Agnell,
it.
yes, Chairman, and Agnell and his team will be available to help out with that to make sure everything is as simple as possible for each person.
Okay. I mean, they're simple to hook up anyway, but.
Sure. I just wanted to let you guys know a couple of questions that I had from several of you that I wanted to share with everyone. This will save us over $4,200 a year in printing costs, and it will save our staff that are in charge of this 5% of their work time, because it takes approximately 2 hours per week to prepare all. It would also, so essentially within a number of years, these will pay for themselves. It will save us a lot of time on copier maintenance, and it also, most importantly, allows for us to have meetings during emergency situations like this, where we can see one another and talk to one another and operate hopefully a little bit more smoothly.
Alderman Pickering.
Yes, Alderman Pickering.
Just have a question. Once we get these, will we go back to having our Public Works Committee meetings and our Public Safety Committee meetings? If we still are, doing the COVID-19 problem.
That will be completely up to the council, but I would suspect so. Like I said, unfortunately with shipping, it could take us as much as a month. And then by the time we get everyone set up and everything, it could easily be, 6 or 8 weeks before everyone fully has the capacity of things that they need in order for us to do that. But yes, I would imagine that we would, but I will, as we get closer to that, I'll bring it up with you all again just to verify.
Okay.
The design.
Thank you.
Mayor, Alderman O'Kane.
Yes, Alderman O'Kane.
Okay, the appropriate software going to be available on these machines, Office 360 or appropriate office material, so that if we have to open up certain documents and stuff, it's going to be available for us?
Sure. I'm going to turn that question over to Agnell, Alderman. Okay.
Yes, Alderman O'Kane, we will be installing Office 365 on there, so you can edit Word documents, and it comes with the full suite of Office software. Yes.
Okay, and then we can print some PDFs and everything else off, right?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, sounds good.
Thank you, Alderman.
Chairman Poor, one more question.
Yes, sir.
For the meetings, we'll just bring our laptops to meetings. We won't bring the external monitor and wireless keyboard and everything, will we?
Actually, Chairman Poor, that's what you'll have the iPads for the meetings. They're a 13-inch or 12.9-inch screen. So you'll have your iPad. So they'll be here for your meetings. So that way you won't have to print out things unless you.
So we'll have a laptop and an iPad.
You have a laptop for home and an iPad for here at City Hall. Yes, sir.
Oh my goodness, that gives me 3 laptops and a desktop now at home.
The best, 2 things that I think are great about this. Number one, every one of us will have exactly the same system set up so that if there are questions, we'll be able to easily help. They'll also be able to very easily be used because you'll have icons where you can just click a button and get to where you need to go. The other thing that I really appreciate about this is that we believe that this will be able to be paid for through the Cures Act. So we believe that because we are using these for remote meetings during the pandemic, that these will be able to be completely reimbursable.
Yeah. Mayor.
Well, all I can say is about time.
Yeah.
Alderman O'Kane, did I hear you there? Okay.
Yes. The county's doing the same thing.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I think a lot of folks are, just because, this kind of caught us off guard, and thankfully we've rolled with the punches and done a pretty good job, but this will allow us to be even better prepared and hopefully be able to communicate even more effectively.
Yeah. Alderman Trolio?
Yes, Alderman Trolio.
Yeah, I do believe the county's actually meeting in person right now, just as a side note. I didn't know if they would get them. I don't know if they had them before that or not, though. That's all.
I don't believe so.
They just voted to buy him.
Chairman Foster.
Yes, Chairman.
Yeah, one of the things that I wanted to point out is the iPads will actually be left down there at the building, so we don't have to haul any equipment in and out. They'll be left there probably somewhere on their... I'd go out and shoot that neighbor if I were you, okay?
Not me.
Well, I don't know who's making the noise, but it's louder than me, and I'm loud.
Thank you, Chairman Foster. That's a good note.
Alderman Iverson?
Yes, Vice Mayor.
I think tonight's meeting, and like has happened, is a perfect indication of why these are important. I know people will look at it and say, $50,000, what do you need to spend that for? We've done a really good job in what we've been able to do, but we could do it so much better if we were all on the same page technologically. And as you pointed out earlier, this is not just for the COVID-19 crisis, which hopefully will not last forever, but this is for all sorts of different emergency situations where you need to get a hold of the aldermen and city people, storms, lots of other things you can think of. So I think it's a well intended purchase of money.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I appreciate that. Any further discussion or debate? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Alderman Troya?
Yes.
Pickering?
Yes.
O'Kane?
Yes.
Iverson?
Yes.
Reading?
Yes.
Ford?
Chairman Poor?
Yes.
Foster?
Yes.
McMahon?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Davis? Dungeon?
Yes.
Shard?
Yes.
Stone?
Yes.
Williams?
Yes.
13 yes.
13 yes, the motion carries. Item 12E is an ordinance amending Chapter 92 of the City Code pertaining to fire prevention. I would entertain a motion to dispense with the reading and for its approval.
Dungeon, so
McMahon,
moved.
so moved.
Been moved by Dungeon and seconded by Alderman McMahon. Any discussion or debate?
This is the
Roll call vote,
firework
please.
ordinance.
That's correct. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I just think this is a really good idea because, I had a friend this year who blew off 3 of his fingers on his left hand with fireworks, and they are so dangerous. And so I really think that having the fire chief send somebody out and making sure that the fire department has the area where they're going to be let off and who's going to be letting them off is just so important. So I definitely will be voting yes for this ordinance.
Thank you, Vice Chairman. Any further discussion or debate? Roll call vote, please.
Alderman Pickering,
Yes.
O'Kane,
Yes.
Iverson,
Yes.
Beatty,
Yes.
Corp,
Yes.
Foster,
Yes.
Mann,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Davis, Dungeon,
Yes.
Chard,
Yes.
Stone,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Kroll, yes,
Yes.
13 yes.
13 yes, the motion carries. Item 12F is an ordinance amending Chapter 115 of the City Code pertaining to transient merchants, itinerant vendors, ice cream trucks, and solicitors. I would entertain a motion to suspend the reading and for its approval.
Brown, so move.
McMahon, second.
It's been moved and seconded. Before we get started, just a couple of things to note. Some of the questions that we had were about costs, et cetera. First, I want you all to know that we made this cheaper. Right now, it costs $100 a month in order to operate as an itinerant vendor. This brings it to $600 for the entire year, meaning that it averages out to only $50 per month. The second thing is it greatly expanded the number of areas that allowed for the operation of food truck. With our current ordinance, it's very limited to downtown and just one or two other places. This allows food trucks to operate in all of our zoning areas except for residential. So those who are asking and wanting to go out to businesses here in town, et cetera, they would be able to do that and not have to think twice about it. It greatly expands the hours. It allows them to operate from 6 a.m. to 2 a.m. every day. Also, it prevents fraud. Unfortunately, sometimes we've had our city clerk or our assistant city clerk have had to follow up with people, remind them. We've had to audit books because people have sometimes failed to pay for the monthly fee. The other big thing is it now requires that they have proof of their food permit in order to operate. We have always asked this as a practice. However, it is not a policy right now. So technically someone could have tried to do this without a food permit. I can imagine that Vermillion County Health Department probably would have shut them down, but this is an extra check for that. And the other thing is that this requires them to provide a trash receptacle and to clean up within 100 feet of their space. That way folks are not leaving trash about. So I think that answered most of the most commonly asked questions or concerns that I had. Are there any other comments or discussion or debate? Mayor?
McMahon, I have a question.
Alderman, I heard several voices, Alderman McMahon and then Trolia, and then we'll get to anyone else that has one. Alderman McMahon.
Yes, I just had a question as to how the payment's going to be made. I know Mr. Gerard expressed that he now pays monthly, which is probably easier for him. Is that still going to be available for him?
No, we were asking that it be an annual payment, just as it is with our other licenses and fees. That way that would all be due at the same time of year and everything would happen up front. The thing is, most people have already, the folks who operate like Mr. Gerard have already paid. For example, he's already paid for 4 months of his service. So that would be applied to as a credit to him. So Mr. Gerard would then only owe $200 more from now until April of next year, instead of what he would have had to pay is almost $1,000 during that time.
Right, but I know that his trucks aren't out like during the severe winter months. So it might create a hardship on them if they start coming out in the spring when their $600 is due. So what I'm saying is that, he might not even have his truck open like December, January, February, March when it's really, really cold outside. And so he may not have that $600 to put up front in April.
Right. Well, I guess our thought was that, you know, instead of like now he's been paying us $100 a month, they would just, you know, instead of paying us monthly, they would give us they would keep that $100 and then pay us all at once in the spring. So they would have the money from the previous year in order to be able to pay the fees for next year, just as we have for our liquor licenses, our daycares and other things that we have licensed throughout the city.
Okay, I just think, you know, that if they're not able to, maybe we could make some kind of arrangement with them, you know, at the time, and just, you know, maybe see next April if they are able to do that. How many people do we have doing that?
We honestly don't have very many, Alderman McMahon. I think we have 2 or 3 that operate regularly, 3, I believe, and then we have a handful of others that do occasionally, but it's really 3 vendors primarily. Mr. Gerard with Bud, Love and Cup, and then Kegs. Alderman Trolia, you had a question. Thanks, Alderman.
Yeah, I was just going to tell you, I was a little skeptical at first, but I talked to one of the vendors, and they were actually all for it. They said it'd make it easier for them to operate, and it was actually going to be cheaper for the year. So I was skeptical, but I think it's a good thing. That's all I had.
Thanks, Alderman Trolia. Yes, I mean, one of the things that we wanted to try to do, again, is we're trying to be as business friendly as possible. So this does make it cheaper for the year for them to operate. It also prevents them from having to come in on a monthly basis to pay that fee. They can just do it once and not have to worry about it for the next 12 months. So we think we know it will make it cheaper, but we also think it will be easier for them to operate as well.
Mayor Williams, this is Alderman Williams.
Yes, sir. Please go ahead, Alderman Williams.
I had one of my constituents to ask a question concerning his food truck that he sells from his private property, and he was wondering why he had to pay, you know, that particular fee, that since he was on his own property.
From his private property, I don't understand. Is it from a commercial property or from his home, his residence, or?
He owns a property and he has a food truck there, and he's still having to pay this fee, and he checked with another individual who is in that same situation, and they're not paying any taxes or any assessments.
Well, everyone should be paying that assessment regardless of where they're located. For those many years ago when I first started on the council and this first came up, there were some concerns, Alderman Williams, that food trucks would compete with brick and mortar businesses, and brick and mortar businesses pay property taxes, et cetera, that food trucks don't. So this was one way that the then administration instituted to kind of make the competition a little bit fair, although I think $600 is way cheaper than what most restaurants pay in property taxes. But if there is an individual that someone knows of that is not paying their annual license or getting their food permit, then please do let us know, and we'll be sure to follow up on it.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor.
Yes, sir.
Alderman O'Kane?
Yes, Alderman O'Kane.
This may not be the right ordinance to address it, but and maybe I missed it, but there's no mention of liability or motor vehicle insurance, certificates of insurance or anything else. If they're going into city parks or even parking on the streets, where does that address?
I can't be somewhere.
I do believe we have it in there. If you'll give us just a moment, I know the clerk is looking for us. I do believe that it's addressed in there, but I don't remember exactly where.
And do we have a dollars and cents for liability? I know at one time it used to be $1 million or $2 million liability for doing some projects in the city of Danville.
The proof of insurance, they can provide proof of insurance for their vehicle.
Yeah.
Yes, we do require that they provide proof of insurance for their vehicle. What is that under, which?
That is under 115.
Okay, so they have for the vehicle. Now, what about public liability or certificate of insurance, especially if they're going to be in a park or on a city street? If they're on a private property, that's that owner's worry. But I know in years past we have to worry about these things on public properties.
In 115,
and it can be addressed. Could be addressed in another ordinance too.
It says in 115.07C, the applicant shall submit along with the application proof of insurance as to each vehicle which may be used, and then it'll be forwarded to the police department for investigation and approval. But it does not mention the specific issue of liability.
Business liability, just like your homeowners or anything else, in case something goes on. I don't want them coming back to the city because we've allowed it and they don't have insurance.
Alderman, okay, and so I can understand, you're talking about like, if someone is just set up somewhere, for example, on a street or whatever, and someone gets hurt as a result of going to pick up a taco or whatever it might be, you're concerned that person might be able to sue the city? Is that the concern that I'm hearing?
Yeah. Well, a lot of times you ask for a certificate of insurance that also waives the city of any liability if they're in the city parks or on a city street and they're selling or doing something. So, and this may not be the right ordinance to address that, but it needs to be thought of anyway.
Yes, sir. Corporation Counsel, do you have any preliminary thoughts on that matter?
One thing I would say is if you look at section 115.10 and then you go to the new section C, we're only allowing them to operate in residential zone areas of the city, but they can also be in a city park during a city event. So as far as a park, we're only allowing them to use that property during a city event. So I can anticipate possibly that if we're allowing someone to use the truck during a city event, that we would, that's an event where we're probably going to have possibly another fee, and we also might have a form for them to fill out, and we could specifically at that time require some type of insurance as well. But it doesn't appear otherwise that we're going to be allowing public events, but certainly those are just my initial thoughts, and I would agree that this may be addressed in some other ordinance or some application that they could fill out related to the ordinance.
Okay, well, just don't let it be forgotten.
Thanks, Alderman. Okay, and good point and point taken. Any other questions? Chairman Floor.
We're talking about food vendors and things, but there's also the solicitor in there. Does that encompass contractors that are selling roofing, siding, windows, things like that? Or are they covered under something else? We have door-to-door people that go around, especially in storms and things, trying to sell roof, siding, windows. Do they need to be covered under this?
They are covered under this, under the itinerant vendor, under the transit. They are covered under this as a solicitor. And again, they're required to come and pay a fee and to be registered with the city of Danville and also have their picture taken for an ID.
And that would be their salespeople, different things as well, that would have to be registered with the city, or just the business?
The salespeople too. So for example, when the roofers were here, the office where they take their picture is in our suite. And during that time, when we had the hail damage, man, we had dozens of people here, and every person who's going to be out there selling anything, yes, they're required to get an ID.
Yeah.
Okay. I know there's some that don't, but
yeah.
If you catch them, then let us know, and we will get our people right on it.
okay.
Chairman,
And again, they may not be aware that they're required to. You know, some of the.
That's why we always approach it in a friendly way, and then if they continue after we've nicely reminded them, then we have to work on enforcement issues.
Oh, sure.
Thankfully,
sure.
we haven't had that problem so much.
Okay. Mayor, this is Alderman O'Kane.
Yes, sir.
We are not changing any part of that ordinance. It's just basically we're talking about changing the ordinance with the trucks, right?
These are for the food vendors.
Right.
We're adding in vendors and such.
But we're not talking about changing the transient workers, attendant vendors, or solicitors. That part of the ordinance is staying the same.
Yes, those are staying the same. That's correct.
Right. Yeah.
But they're still in this ordinance.
Yes, that is correct. Any further discussion or debate?
Yeah, this is Chairman Foster. One question.
Yes, Chairman.
Firstly, if we do have like a carnival type event, itinerants come through, are they subject to that at all? I know usually they pay a fee to set up to the event holder. And then the second question is, are any of these people collecting sales tax?
The first question is yes, they are required to pay a fee. For example, if we hold like the fall festival or things like that, there is a registration fee in order to have a booth to set up. And then secondly, you asked if they are paying sales tax. Yes, the food trucks, we do receive sales tax from the food trucks.
Thanks.
Sales tax and food and beverage, Chairman. Thank you, Clerk.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion or debate? Roll call vote, please.
Alderman O'Kane?
Yes.
Iverson?
Yes.
Strebe?
No.
Ford?
Yes.
Foster?
Yes.
McMahon?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Davis? Dungeon?
Yes.
Bouchard?
Yes.
Hello.
Stone?
Yes.
Williams?
Yes.
Troya?
Yes.
Pickering?
Yes.
12 yes.
12 yes, the motion carries. At this time, we do have an item information. I will turn it over to our comptroller to discuss with you briefly the 2020 tax levy and 2021-2022 budget schedule. Comptroller Massey.
Hello, can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Wanted to make sure it was unmuted. Not much here, just wanted to provide a schedule to everyone, showing when department heads and mayor and I would be meeting to discuss certain funds and just give you an overview of what we plan to do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone have any questions for the comptroller? Any questions for anyone that falls under, for any of our department and division heads that fall under Public Services Committee? All right, seeing none, items of information for the good of the cause. Before I forget, I also want to make sure that we recognize Mr. Greg Alpers. He is, those of you who don't know, the State Legion tournament had been disbanded for years. It probably had not happened in 5 or maybe as many 7 years. And Mr. Greg Alpers, who's a Danville man, and actually the father of our treasurer, Stephanie Wilson, thought about bringing it back and bringing it back to life. And because of him, that's something that has been reinvigorated. And we're glad because it brings a lot of folks to Danville, and it's another way that we can also show pride in our veterans. So, Mr. Alpers, we thank you and salute you for all of your hard work, and we appreciate everything that you did to bring this to fruition, and particularly for bringing it to Danville. Are there any other items of information for the good of the cause?
Alderman Dungeon.
Brown. Go ahead,
I heard a host of folks. Alderman Dungeon, go ahead, sir.
And mine are more questions than items of information. I had asked you about a couple different things. They've already been answered. But if at the next meeting you could give us an update on the Carl construction, it seems, just from an eyeball point of view, it seems to be at a halt. If you could give us an update on that, I would sure appreciate it. I would also like an update on just annual year-to-date sales tax revenue, just to see how the pandemic has affected our budget. Before we start budget discussions, in the upcoming months, at least the sales tax revenue, I'd like an input on. And then as a quick comment on one of the email phone-in comments, I think the gentleman's name was Golden from MSI, I think. He has called me, and I had told him directly, I see no reason not to open up discussion and to see what he has to say. I have no firm belief on whether his is the right product or not, whether his is something we need to purchase, but I think we need to listen to I hate to say this, but I think we need to listen to almost any salesperson in the hopes of attempting to save us some money or give us a better quality product. So I would like to follow up on Mr. Golden's request to at least listen to him. Thank you very much.
Sure. And actually, Alderman Duncan, I have information for you on all of those things and the fired overtime that you asked me about earlier as well.
I knew there was a reason I liked you.
Well, you should like our department heads because they're the ones who are feeding me information. So thankfully,
Perfect.
Chief McMasters is on with us. And so a big part of the overtime for the fire department has been, I forgot about this. We've had 2 people in quarantine because of exposure to COVID. And we had 2 people that were actually out on workers' comp from injuries. So the workers' comp especially has cost us quite a bit. That is on top of the 2 new hires that we have due to retirement that actually don't count as manning yet. So we have 2 individuals due to retirement who don't count as manning yet. We have 2 that are out who were out due to COVID, and then we had 2 that are on workers' comp due to injuries. So that's why the fire overtime is a little higher than we anticipated it. Second thing on Carl, I just spoke with Nick Chatterton and Caleb Miller last week. They do intend to resume. They are working on negotiations of another property on Logan Avenue, and they're trying to finalize that as well as another house before they come back because they would like to do all their demolitions at one time while they have their here. So it's a minor delay that I think will hopefully help in the elimination of further blight, but they are still planning to move forward. And we're a little bit behind where they thought they would be because they were kind of aggressive, but only a few months behind schedule. Year-to-date sales tax, I will have our comptroller follow up with you specifically on that. But we were looking at some projections earlier today, and it looks like we are down about 5% compared to what we were expecting so far. And it could be much greater.
That's not bad.
No, it's not considering.
Yeah.
And we could be down more next year. There has been an IML projection, and I will have the comptroller share that with you as part of our budget discussion. I don't remember exactly what it was. I want to say it was around 20 to 25% of our state use tax, which would cost us a couple of $100,000 revenue. Yes. Insurance, you'll be happy to know we've had some preliminary meetings with our health insurance folks, and we are hoping that we can make up what we will lose in sales tax, at least some of it, through healthcare savings. If the creek doesn't rise too high and we end this year well, then we actually project that we will be able to save yet again on our health insurance. Regarding Mr. Golden's proposal, just so you'll know, myself and the comptroller did meet with Mr. Golden last year and his team from CCMSI. Unfortunately, in the past, we had some severe problems with them. And not only that, they were substantially more expensive. Even when we looked at things again last year, they were a bit more expensive. So I would be happy to look at it again. I don't know what would have changed substantially in the last 8 months, but I would be certain, I would be happy to explore receiving pricing from them.
Thank you. And that's all I would ask. I'm not recommending him as a company, but I think we always need to explore all of our options for cost savings.
Absolutely. As you all know, we are getting everything that we can. For example, Agnell alone has saved us tens of thousands of dollars for our cell phone contracts, et cetera. So we are looking for every nook and cranny that we can. Also, you might remember that last year you all authorized me to enter into an agreement with Azavar to see if we had been getting all the money that we were supposed to for our franchise agreements with Comcast, AT&T, and Ameren, and they have done that. And actually, I don't have an exact figure yet, but I know that we will be receiving several $1,000s from that we were owed that we haven't received. And we will also, moving forward, be making sure that we're receiving some funds that we have not previously that we should be.
Alderman Stravian, Mayor Williams.
Yes, sir.
I've got, first I need Engineer Sam Cole to give me a call tomorrow morning sometime. I know he's,
okay.
But everything we've had shut down, everything, he's been out of the office and stuff. Number two, dealing with the CCMSI, is this going back to where we're dealing with the municipal league again on the insurance?
Yes, sir. That's who he represents.
Okay. I would entertain looking at it, but I wouldn't really want to get my feet wet with it again. We had a lot of problems with that. So that's my point on that. I'd also like to thank the crew we had out here in the Heights for street sweeping. They were out here quite a bit of yesterday, and they've done a great job out here. Really good job. So. And the other question I have is...
Thanks, Vice Chairman. I'll be sure to pass that along to them.
The other thing I have a question is, how long is the lease with Illinois Power with our building out on Voorhees?
I do believe it ends either next year or the year after that. However, I do have a call from the government relations representative at Ameren regarding a building purchase of some sort.
Yes.
That I just received today that I have to return. So I'll be sure to provide you all with an update on that at the next meeting.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Any other items of information for the good of the cause?
Mayor Chairman.
Alderman Brown, I think you deferred to Duncan earlier. I'll let you go ahead and then Chairman Poore afterwards.
Okay.
This is just something brief. This past Sunday night was the last night for the Danville Municipal Band for their performance at Lincoln Park. And starting this next Sunday, as you had mentioned previously in the year, Mayor Williams, Doc Ashton and the Root Canals will be there on Sunday night. And they will be starting at 6:30 instead of 7 o'clock due to the day being shorter. So people aren't going home in the dark. But the municipal band did comment and thank the city of Danville for allowing them, because without our approval as councilman and the mayor, they wouldn't be able to perform on Sunday nights. And they did ask the audience, if you see your alderman or see an alderman, tell them things. So they're very grateful for the time they're able to perform and entertain those guests at Lincoln Park on Sunday night. So I just thought that was noteworthy and wanted to mention it.
Thank you, Alderman Brown, for the reminder. Yes, the municipal band did an outstanding job. I was really pleased with the concerts that they put on for us, and I pray that next year we'll be able to have a full season with them. And yes, you're absolutely right. Doc Ashton and the Root Canals will be back with us each Sunday night at 6:30. So excited and thankful for them for the service that they provide to our community. Thank you,
Mayor Williams. Are you going to be performing again with them next Sunday?
You know, I'm not on this Sunday's calendar, but I may have a reprisal, just depending on if they thought I was good enough or not. We'll see.
Well, it wasn't mentioned, so I just thought I'd put you on alert.
Well, thank you. Well, thank you very much.
You did a great job.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Alderman. I never thought I would have a chance to sing Stevie Wonder with a live band. It was pretty awesome. Yes, Chairman Poor.
Mayor, this will go back to audience comments with Mr. Robinson dilemma. He called me, it's been a couple of weeks ago, and of course I called him back and talked for probably half hour, 45 minutes on the situation. Of course, it goes back to school days. My mom actually taught him in school, and I might have went to school with his older brother, but and then I did call Alderman Williams and also Alderman Brown. Alderman Williams and I talked a little bit. Alderman Brown wasn't home when I called, but to me, it seems like just a family issue, and I don't know why he just doesn't get a restraining order or something, but I'm sure that, it's going to have to work it out on his own. I mean, there's nothing really we can do on a family dispute over what property was left to who and different things.
Thanks for that insight.
For Alderman, Mayor Williams, I want to respond since he mentioned that. I did get your message, Alderman Poor, and I spoke with him, a lengthy conversation, and I mentioned that it sounds more like a civil dispute, and he did say, well, that's what the police said. So he still thought that it was, should go further. So I told him, he says, I want to write a letter. I told him, you're welcome. I said, you can do that. So I'm with you. I did tell him it's more of a civil dispute,
right.
Not so much as just something. The city police can't do anything about a civil dispute as such as it is. So anyway, thank you for the call. And I appreciate you sending him over, but like I said, weren't able to please him, but at least we were able to speak with him.
All right.
Alderman Williams, I also spoke with him on 3 different occasions, and I also just suggested that he probably would need a lawyer and report any incidents involving any harm to him or his family to the police, and hopefully, that will take place. But I didn't see how the city could respond.
Alderman, I appreciate you all for doing everything that you can to take care of our people as always, and to give them good, solid advice. So thank you for that. Anything else for the good of the cause? Having satisfied the agenda, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved, Alderman Dungeon.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Yeah, bye.
We are adjourned. Have a great rest of the week, everyone, and I can't wait to see you all on the 18th.
Yep. Be safe.
Be safe. Good night, everyone. Good night.
Good night.